Hello my friends, I love cycling. This is really a wonderful transportation mode, but also a big joy for your cardio training. So this year is my son's bicycle, a wonderful all-roads bicycle, 21 years. But what happens sometimes is this. So today we're having a look on how to repair a flat tire.
The first thing to do is to put the gears on the smallest cog, meaning here number 8.
Now that we've put the chain on the smallest rod, I will return the bicycle. In this way we can access very easily to everything.
Now we will be removing the wheel from the frame. For this I'm opening this quick release, turning the release at the same moment holding the nut on the opposite side.
In case you don't have the fast opening device, you will need these keys, so you need 2. This one is very convenient because it has all sizes, and this one as well. This one here is more precise, so in case you want to put some power on it, it's better to take this one. So now I'm putting on both sides. And then for opening, always anti-clockwise. So now it's released, and on the other side I do the same, anti-clockwise.
So you can see here that we have to fix the back wheel, the rear wheel, and for this you can move this this rear derailleur. It's done on purpose for removing the whole wheel. So you hold it like this, you release the wheel, you put it up, and then you may also touch the chain. That's a little bit of grease, but that's part of the job. And now we have released the wheel. The thing to have a very careful look at is the type of valve you're using. You can see here this is a Presta valve. So we are first of all releasing this little nut, which is maintaining the valve in the hole. And be very careful with the valve. So here a Presta valve. Don't mess it up with, for instance, the Schrader valve, which is the same valve than in the cars. And that's not a detail, because in case you are buying another valve, it may not fit into this hole because the Schrader valves are by far larger. Now for taking the inner tube out of the tire, you will need these tire levers. That's a very useful tool, and it works like this. You put it below the tire and then you block it here into the spoke. And then once you have done this, it's holding, and then you take a second one, you put it as well below the tire. Be careful not hitting the inner tube, and then it will be easy to really remove everything. So now you can remove the inner tube just like this. And what we're doing now is that we will be releasing the whole tire for letting the wheel totally empty. Now let's have a look at the references on the tire. You see here there's one, it's 622, and the other one is 29 times 2.35. So a little information about these references. The first one here on the left side is the ISO reference in millimeters, and I remind you that this was a European initiative. And on the right it's the English references in inches. But the easiest thing to do is to take both references and go to your repair shop for buying your inner tube with these references. In case you don't have any repair shop around, no problem, you can also repair the inner tube with patches. For this I invite you to have a look at my video about repairing the inner tube with a patch. Now we have to check the tire. So for this we take a reference point. Here we take the brand, and we are just checking carefully, and be careful not to injure your fingers with this, if there wouldn't be any sharp thing being blocked inside. So it can be a nail, a thorn, a piece of glass. So of course it's very important to make a very thorough check, because in case the nail is still staying inside the tire, you can be sure that you will have very quickly a new puncture on your inner tube. So this here takes a while because it's a very big tire. It's an all-road tire, so the surface is of course much bigger than if you would take a city tire. So this is how it works. And by the way, I was confused at the beginning saying a rod instead of a cog, and this is probably because I made recently a video about how to install a curtain rod. So everything is fine now, no trace of anything dangerous. So in case it would happen, so be very careful of identifying the place where it is, a nail or for instance a thorn, and then you can remove the nail from outside, from this side, either with your thumbnails or with a plier or even a pincet if it's very small. So now that we have done this check, we can start to install the tire again. On only one side, install the tire on the rim. So this is a very easy process, very straightforward. So now everything is ready for accepting the new inner tube. So the thing we have to do first in this case is to check out where the hole of the valve is. So you can see it is here. And once we have done this, very easy, we are inserting the valve inside the hole, like this. And then we are putting the inner tube inside the tire, and here we are very careful of making sure that there wouldn't be any fold. So be very careful with this, and also check that the tire will not be squeezing the inner tube. So the inner tube has to be totally free inside the tire. So important, no folds and no blocking element from the tire onto the tube. So once it is placed, you are just taking the valve, you're pulling it out. Then you can fix it with this little nut. This will maintain the inner tube where it is. So now the inner tube is well fixed on the wheel. Next step is to put back the tire onto the rim. And here, as I said, you have to be careful not squeezing somehow the inner tube. And so inside the tire there is an iron wire for stabilizing the tire inside the rim. So you just put it back. Here in this case it's rather easy. Sometimes you will need again the tire levers. So now you join the two open ends towards the same place, and this way you will close the tire. So now the tire is ready, and we are putting it back onto the bicycle. Make sure you're not inflating the tire before putting it back, otherwise it could be blocked by the brakes, specifically the classical brakes called caliper. So here I'm putting it back, I'm holding the rear derailleur, and now I'm making sure that the wheel is well placed into the frame. Once it's perfectly fitting within the frame, I can now close the quick release. So here I'm holding the opposite side nut and I'm turning the quick release for finding the right tension. The objective is to make sure that the wheel is not moving anymore from the frame. Then for fine-tuning, I will more move the nut on the other side than the quick release. So I have to find the right tension, and here it is. Now we will inflate the tire. So first of all, I need to open up this little nut here on the top. Now I am inserting the pump, and once the pump is inside, I start inflating. Once I've reached the right pressure, for this just check with your fingers if it's hard enough. I'm removing delicately the pump for avoiding that any air is coming out.
Then I'm just making sure that this here is well closed, this part. And then I'm closing the little valve. No need to close it too firmly. And then I put the little protection.
Now that I've inflated this tire, I will of course take the opportunity for inflating the front tire. Now I will be moving the pedal for making sure that the chain is getting into the right cog.
Aye. Here we are, my friends. Tires fixed and well inflated. So now we are ready for a ride. Just returning the bicycle. And now I'm ready for a tour.